Good evening and welcome to tonight's Fort Wayne Community Schools Board of Trustees meeting. We'll start tonight's meeting like we do every meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand as you're able. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We'll take roll call. Steve.
Good evening. Steve Corona from the 5th District.
Good evening, Maria Norman, Member at Large.
Julie Hollingsworth, District 1.
Good evening, Antoinette Payne, District 4.
Jennifer Mathias, District 2. Ann Duff, Member at Large.
And I'm Noah Smith, District 3. And to my left is Dr. Mark Daniels, Superintendent of Fort Wayne Community Schools. And to his left, Angela Filler, Clerk of the Board. I'd like to start by thanking Ms. Colleen Phillips and the Memorial Park Mariachi Band for getting us off to a great start this evening. Steve, if you're up and running, do you mind reading the first awards and recognitions for Northside High School Wrestling?
Hang on just a second.
Or excuse me, Maria, why don't you go ahead and take that if you don't mind? We'll
Yep,
bounce
absolutely.
around.
It is recommended that the board recognize Northside High School junior Giselle Klein for placing 6th in the 115-pound weight class. Last school year, Giselle qualified for state as a sophomore, but was not a medal finalist. As a junior, she had an outstanding season, going 27-9 with 16 pins. Please come forward as your name is called so we may congratulate you. Giselle Klein. We also have Jordan Knox, head girls wrestling coach, Andrew Klein, the athletic director, and David West, principal at Northside.
Congratulations, Giselle.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maria. Steve, do you mind reading the Future Cities Award?
Sure. It's recommended the board recognize the following middle schools for their placements in the Indiana Regional Future City Competition. From Blackhawk, first place award, special awards for outstanding city model, outstanding presentation, question and answer, best project plan, best presentation. I'm going to keep reading here. We have 3 teams as the Blackhawk students walk in. Are we going to take individual pictures by school?
Probably.
By school.
I think we better.
By school? Okay.
Get Blackhawk. Two rows.
There you go.
There we go.
Read the team.
Good job, everyone.
Steve, can you read the Blackhawk team members
Next page.
on the next page?
Yes. 8th grade team members Gage Anima, Scarlett Leonhardt, Robert Navarro, Corey Schmeltz, Dominic Stallard, and Harrison Wolpe. The 7th grade members include Eliana Bradley, Olivia Butts, and Samara Roddy. Hope I pronounced that right. 6th grade team members Arjun Pupari, Aaron Hernandez, Peyton Yoakum. Also a part of the school team, Rick Kwolek, volunteer engineer, Greg Mose, instructional coach, Sally Godfrey, one of the teachers, and Justin Herring is the principal there. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Okay, thank you. And the next school that we would like to have up front is Kikianga. Let me tell you a little bit about what they were awarded. 2nd place for the Indiana Region Special Awards for Outstanding Artistic Vision and Outstanding Use of Recycling Content. That's interesting. And the members by grade, Micah Dawkins and Nathan McDonald, are 8th graders. 6th grade team members include Gavin Malone, Suri Schuster, Jaleesa Taylor, Their teachers are Lisa Smith and Kate Curlis. Tricia Brooks is the principal. Congratulations. The third team is Lane.
Congratulations.
They
job.
were awarded a third place for the Indiana region and special awards for outstanding city essay, Team's Choice Award, National Best Land Surveying Practices Award, Most Innovative Use of Engineering. And team members from Lane, their 8th grade team members include Andrea Elliman, Lyric Brown, Aubrey Jacquish, Julian Lopez, Ezekiel Muan, Owen Snelson, and Ayaman Sway. Their teacher is Shelby Whirling. Matthew Heron is the principal. Just a little background on Future City. Competition is a STEM program for middle school students sponsored by the National Engineers Association.
Thank you, Steve. Next, we'll move on to our consent agenda, which includes approval of minutes, vouchers and payroll, and the personnel report. Is there anybody that has any questions or want to pull any of that out?
Move approval of the items listed under the consent report.
Thank you, Steve.
Second.
Thank you, Jen. Dr. Deanna, do you have anything for?
Do not.
Okay, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Julie, can you read the Lane Middle School may travel to Japan?
I can. It is recommended that the board approve the international trip to Japan for the summer of 2028 for students at Lane Middle School. The trip dates are proposed to run for 9 days within the trip window of June 11th to June 25th, 2028. The trip will explore regional and cultural activities in the cities of Osaka, Kyoto, Tokyo, Yokohama, and the Kansai region. This optional trip to Japan is an educational enrichment opportunity for currently enrolled 6th through 8th grade students and interested staff, offering a rare chance to experience global learning outside of the school year and beyond the traditional classroom. We plan to launch the trip on March 19th in partnership with the Heritage Travel Group, and all students who enroll will be in high school at the time the trip takes place. Students will have fundraising and scholarship opportunities during the 26-27 and 27-28 school years. The tour is professionally managed by EF Educational Tours and will be led by Shelby Whirling, who has years of personal international travel experience and 4 years of professional experience leading Indiana students on EF international trips. Based on the trip enrollment numbers, Matthew Heron will be the secondary chaperone, and Catherine Bates, language arts teacher, will be the tertiary chaperone for the Lane group of travelers. In addition to Shelby Whirling, science teacher and group leader, Principal Matthew Heron will be available to answer any questions.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Second.
Thank you, Jan. Thank you, Julie. Shelby, I'm just dying to know so you can make us all jealous. Tell us more about your years of personal international travel and 4 years of professional.
So I started traveling internationally when I was about 5 years old because my parents were divorced and my dad, biological dad, lived internationally. So I've been traveling independently from the ages of about 5 to 16, going internationally to different countries in Europe. Then in college, I went on some trips through PFW, and then in my time away from FWCS, while I was with EACS, we worked with EF Tours, myself and another teacher there who runs the Heritage Travel Club. The program is really awesome. We've taken students to Costa Rica, Italy, Spain, Belize, and then this summer will be my 4th trip with EF, and we are going to Germany and Switzerland. So we're very excited about that. And then when I got back with FWCS, Mr. Heron and I were talking about all these cool things that we've been doing and thought it would be a really great thing to bring to Lane and to our students.
Definitely exciting. Does anybody else have any questions for, excuse me, Shelby or Principal Heron?
I had a question. It says it's for currently enrolled 6th through 8th graders, so does that mean that students who will be enrolled at that time are not, or excluded from the trip, or it's only the ones that are currently?
So we're launching the trip, hopefully, obviously pending approval here. We plan to launch the trip on the 19th, and students who are current students at Lane, so 6th graders, 7th graders, or 8th graders, will have that opportunity to enroll on the trip. We are hoping to do, honestly, I'd like to only have to do one enrollment period here for students to enroll on the trip. We have 12 spots kind of allotted to our portion of the group. If we don't make that number, we plan on doing a second period of enrollment in the fall, where students who are enrolled in the fall then would have that opportunity. So we are looking to keep it, with our Lane family, students I know, families Mr. Herron knows, kind of our community there.
What's the cost of the trip?
The cost of the trip right now is sitting at about $5,800 for student travelers, and then adult travelers, so anyone over the age of 19, I believe is $6,800. And with us launching the trip so early, the way EF operates is that you can choose, travelers can opt into manual payment plans, automatic payment plans, and those kinds of things. So we're hoping to see a cost per month of less than $200 per student traveler by launching it so early.
And how many days is that trip?
9 days.
9 days.
Mhm. I always tell the students to blanket out about 11 days, so 2 extra days, 1 on each end, depending on travel. Obviously, if our flights leave really early in the morning, you kind of need to block out the next day, or if we get a delay coming home, block out that next day. But we're guaranteed 9 days in Japan.
What if, unforeseen circumstances, someone has raised the money for the trip? I assume that goes to EF for them to hold? Or is that,
Oh, go ahead, I'm sorry. So
how's that work?
Yeah, so we actually have group travel insurance. It's part of our price already. Usually travelers have to opt in. We didn't allow any opting in or out. We just opted them all in. There is additional travel insurance and things like that families can purchase. So if they, are really, really concerned about needing to pull out at the last minute, it's a big investment. So they have that opportunity. I'm not sure off the top of my head what those additional plans are, but everyone is opted into the one that we usually recommend.
Okay. And so you said you have 12 spots, so I assume this means you're going with a group that would include other schools?
Yes. So we are partnering with the Heritage Travel Group, which is who I've been doing EF with. Their teacher, their group leader, her name's Ashley Myers. She's been doing EF, I think, for 7 or 8 years. So she's very competent and works really well. We work really well together. We're hoping to get a group of about 25 to 30. If we hit the 30 mark of 30 paid travelers, we're considered a private group, and we get a private bus. We don't get partnered up with any other possible schools from the United States. And it's just kind of a fun little thing. It's just kind of our crew. But if we don't, then we could potentially get partnered up with other schools from the United States, which I've had happen on every trip I've been on. And we've met kids from Texas and Tennessee and Georgia. And some of our kids that have traveled before are still in contact with friends they made on their trip.
And have you been to Japan before?
I have
Or
not.
Asia?
No, so I'm very excited about that. I've been in a lot of European countries, some Central America, South American countries, but I'm very excited to go to Japan.
Is the Heritage Group also middle schoolers as well?
They are going to all be high schoolers. So all of our students, when we go on the trip, will be in high school, even our students, because our current 6th graders, let's say you have a 6th grader, you enroll them this spring. By the time we go on the trip, we will be going summer of 2028. It's the summer between 8th grade and their freshman year. So the majority of the students from Heritage, based on what I've been hearing from their interest level, they're all students who are currently either in 9th grade or 10th grade is kind of where their excitement level seems to be. So all of our kids will be around the same age.
Any other questions for Shelby? Thank you, Shelby. Thank you, Mr. Herron. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Tony, can you read the student replacement devices?
Yes. It is recommended the board approve the purchase of 715 Dell Pro 14 student laptops from Secure Tech of Portville, Indiana, in the amount of $549,012.75. This purchase of Dell laptops is being purchased to complete our Wayne High School student device replacement plan. FWCS was able to secure Dell pricing from Secure Tech that is below TIPS cooperative contract pricing. Indiana law does not require public bidding for purchases made at or below approved cooperative purchasing agencies and/or GSA pricing. Funding will come from the School Technology Advancement Account and the operating budget. Kevin Grubel, Director of Technology, will be available to answer any questions.
Thank you, Tony. I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Ann. Thank you, Tony. Do we have any questions for Kevin?
I thought I just read that we had 3,000 computers that we weren't using. Where are they, and why aren't we going to use those? Is that true, first of all?
So the computers I think you're talking about are about 6 or 7-year-old devices that are at our warehouse. Those are on their way out with this replacement cycle. So we held on to them because we didn't want to put money into repairing old computers when we had these at the warehouse. Once these Dells come in, we will start to get those out of our system. But they are, again, about 6 or 7 years old.
Is it normal to have 3,000 just sitting there for potential whatever it was they were sitting there for?
Is it normal?
Well, yeah, to have that many in that are not.
Valid question. A lot of them are broken, and we've just not surplused yet because we may be able to scavenge parts out of them to make a functional device without incurring an additional cost. So that's kind of why we have so many at the warehouse.
How many get broken a year, roughly?
Our breakage rate is somewhere in the neighborhood of middle to high teens. So anywhere from 16 to 19% get broken every single year. We also sustain about a 10 to 12% loss every year.
So 28, so we're looking at 28,000 roughly if we have 28,000 students, or that plus staff of 5,000 roughly, so 33,000? How would you characterize that?
As far as the total devices?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll have our student one-to-one count, and then we try to run about a 10 to 12% spare count, and that fluctuates between different buildings. Some buildings have a higher breakage rate or a higher loss rate than others. So some schools may have a higher spare count than the others.
So between breakage and loss, we have about a 28 to 30% breakage and loss combination, or are those combined?
Some of them are combined. Yeah, some of them come back for repair and then are not turned in at the end of the school year, or they're lost, or they were caught up in an accident, or they were stolen, or things like that.
Okay. And this will replace all of, or create new laptops for all of the Wayne students, or there's 715?
Yeah, so the way the funding came in, we had to expedite this order, and then on the next board meeting will be another funding cycle, and the next funding cycle will complete all of our high schools. So this is a part of Wayne, and the next funding cycle, or the CSF application, will complete Wayne. That will give us all new devices in all of our high schools.
Any other questions right now?
How long then, in that cycle, will those computers stay at Wayne? So we have new ones this year, or right now, or whenever these come. How long until those are on the next cycle to be replaced?
We're on about a 5-year rotation. So, when they come with a 4-year warranty, and we try to keep them 1 year past that.
You good?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Okay, I'll take a vote. All those in favor of approving this contract signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Thank you. Jennifer, can you read the next one?
It is recommended that the board approve a technology service agreement with SiteLogic, Inc. in the amount of $855,872 to conduct a district-wide facility condition assessment, implement a cloud-based facilities strategic planning platform, and provide 5 years of ongoing software and maintenance support. Fort Wayne Community Schools secured pricing below what is available through the 1GPA National Purchasing Cooperative. Indiana law does not require public bidding for purchases made at or below approved cooperative purchasing entities, and SiteLogic serves as the sole source vendor for this software platform. Funding will be from the 2020 School Building Basic Renewal Restoration and Safety Project, and Heather Krebs, from our Facilities Director, will be available to answer questions.
Thank you. I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Ann.
Second.
Thank you, Tony. Do we have any questions for Heather regarding the SiteLogic proposed software contract and technology services agreement?
Yeah. So Heather, have we ever done this before with an outside vendor?
We have not.
Okay.
Typically, we've done facility condition assessments with our in-house staff, and we will continue to do that alongside this group. But this allows us to actually combine all of that data within one platform instead of being within our own separate spreadsheets and data that we have assembled in one place, but it's a little more scattered.
How much time saving do you think that will, how much do you think it will save you time?
I mean, honestly, we are, like I said, we go through the buildings every year and we focus on a third of the district in 3-year cycles. I think honestly, every year it will probably save us, I would guess, probably 2 months of time just going through buildings, doing assessments, doing condition updates and estimates.
Is this so this is a boots on the ground thing? They send in their people to, assess and,
Absolutely.
okay.
And one of my coordinators, at least one of my coordinators will be with them at all times. When possible, I'll have 2 or 3 people with them.
Okay. And have we used this vendor before? You've talked to any schools that have used them?
We have talked to schools that have used them. They don't have any that have used them quite to this extent within Indiana, but nationwide they do. We have not used this vendor before. They are new to us, but I have looked at several platforms over the last 4 to 5 years, and this is the first one that we really feel meets our needs and will give us the capacity to project out for a 5 to 10 year cycle.
Yeah, that's what my question was regarding. Will this help you plan for future projects and like sort of what's coming up in the cycle?
Absolutely. There are prioritizations that get assigned to all of the assets within the system, and then dashboards that are available that will easily show us at a glance what systems are in highest need, and then we can start to put estimates together within the platform to create those budgets.
In this contract, I know that it's for the initial assessment. In 5 years, there it is. I thought that there was a year. Okay.
Was this originally planned for in the 2020 referendum? Or we just have money left over and?
It was not originally planned for. When we first started the referendum projects in 2012, we did have commissioning dollars that were set aside that are really to make sure the buildings are all set up as needed and for us to do kind of these back-end data dumps into our system, which we have been doing to the best of our ability along the way. But this funding from the 2020 referendum is really from savings and interest earned over time.
Great.
And is this for the complete building, like exterior, interior, lockers, the
Yes.
stonework, all the things?
All the things.
Okay.
We did not include site paving and parking facilities just because that is subject to a little more extensive condition assessment. But the intent would be eventually even to include playgrounds and exterior facilities. It does include building envelope, masonry, roofing, and then all of the interior components, HVAC systems, electrical systems, et cetera.
Furniture?
It does not include furniture yet, but we do have customization available within the system where hopefully we could add that in at some point in time.
Okay.
And this will be complete when?
This will be complete in 1 year. We will do the initial assessment over the course of the next year. We're actually ready to hit the ground running as soon as this gets approved this evening. And the full assessment will be completed within a year, and we'll be up and running with future planning.
Okay, so 1 year from now?
Let's
We
go.
can expect to have a work session or something and
Would be glad
report
to.
out the results.
Yes.
Hey, Heather, as we start to pinch pennies and stuff, I see this as an investment into the millions of dollars that we've invested inside of our buildings and on the outside of our buildings. Do you have currently, like, what our net worth or how much our buildings are all worth, that we're spending this large chunk of money to kind of keep track of everything and make sure that we're in good working order?
I will say I do not have a figure for overall net worth available, but that is something that we could put together and I could report back to you.
Okay, yeah. It just, again,
That's
is a lot.
probably over
and I-
300 million, isn't it? I mean, you're asking what our
absolutely.
buildings and all that stuff are worth, basically?
Yes.
Well, we've probably spent that much in the three,
Between the three
Referendum.
right, between the three referendums, we've spent over $375 million.
Okay, so this makes sense.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm assuming that this is going to, this is the way the software might work, is you might be sitting there with 7 different spreadsheets of all the things that are going on in the building, and this is going to assemble all of them into one, so that if Heather wants to pull up what's going on over here at Lane Middle School and where we're at with things, instead of sorting through.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
That's how I understood this to be, but I
Yes.
just wanted to make sure that, so it's even an efficiency piece on top of everything else, and for future employees like yourself who will be assembling it for they're readily available for the next 25 years.
Yes. Ultimately, I'm trying to future-proof this somewhat. Right now, there are a handful of us within the district who have the type of intimate knowledge of our buildings that myself and Darren Hess have. We could go get hit by a bus tomorrow, who knows? And I want to make sure the district has this information at the ready so that we are somewhat future-proof to continue to carry out excellent maintenance of our facilities.
Sure. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
And the pricey climate control stuff that we've been putting in buildings that people can manage, is that all, will that all be in the system as well? or is
That, yeah, well, the actual running of that system is still independent,
Yeah.
but we will be tracking those assets as well, so we will be able to project when those items
will
need
need to be
replacement
replaced?
as well.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'd just like to make sure we point out that over half the cost is just that assessment, is that right?
Correct.
And the rest
That-
is ongoing
That
maintenance
initial
and
assessment.
service and stuff, but that is a pricey tag, but there's a lot of, hopefully, value out of that. So how long will that assessment all take, do you expect? You go
That's-
through all 61 buildings and,
We'll get through it in the next year.
okay. So will they have somebody here regularly, or are they going to hire
They will.
somebody to partner with us to?
They have teams that go out and do this, and they do it day to day, so I would venture to say they're probably even a little more skilled than we are, knowing what they're looking for to put into the system. So, like I said, we are there to assist and make sure they have access to everything, and we can give them as much background knowledge as possible. But they're able to go through a building within a matter of days and get this information assembled and start uploading it into the system.
And I understood from the construction community that we're unique, that we share data with those folks, that they can come in and see, as Jennifer said, doing work at Lane, so they go and see when everything was done or what was most recent, stuff like that. Will this allow that to continue on? Or
Absolutely.
be even more enhanced?
Yes, it will.
Any other questions for Heather on this motion? Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
And we read the next one?
Yes, it is recommended that the board approve the purchase of classroom furniture as follows. There's 4 suppliers: Smith Systems, Custer Inc., Educational Furniture Manufacturing, and Pulver Cove Associates, for a contract amount totaling all of those $2,715,575.19. This purchase will provide new classroom furniture at Blackhawk, Jefferson, Miami, Northwood, and Shawnee Middle Schools. The furniture will be installed during the summer of 2026. Pricing was obtained utilizing the special exception purchasing method pursuant to Indiana Code 52210. Funding will be from the 2026 General Obligation Bond and 2026 Facilities Improvements Lease Bond. And Heather We'll answer any questions.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Yes, thank you, Ann.
Second.
Thank you, Julie. Do we have any more questions for Heather on this furniture in the middle schools?
Yeah, I do. Again, I just feel like we need to emphasize what we're spending money on. Heather, can Fort Wayne Community Schools just go to like any furniture store and get furniture for our buildings?
That's a little bit of a complex question. The short answer is yes, we can if we purchase through a purchasing cooperative or similar to other purchases you've approved tonight at a negotiated price that's less than a purchasing cooperative price. What that does not necessarily allow us is the opportunity to see several different lines of furniture all laid out in direct competition with one another. Some of these furniture vendors tend to work a little bit in silos with what they can provide. So this process actually allowed us the opportunity to invite furniture vendors to bring in different pieces. And we were able to review them, look at them for quality. We brought in a cohort of some staff and students, as well as some principals, to give us their feedback, which was fantastic. Loved having the students in. They actually had some really, really great feedback that I had not considered, so I'm really glad we did that. But it allowed us to look at what's actually the best fit and the best individual pieces for how we operate and our buildings and our students.
Thank you.
I have a two-part question. The first is, what type of furniture does this include in the classrooms? And then how often are we replacing these?
So a little history, we have not done full-on furniture replacements in probably excess of 30 to 40 years. We've done partials at times, but the furniture that we're replacing as part of this particular purchase is student desks, student chairs, teacher desks, storage pieces, including bookcases and a separate closed mobile storage option. We're also providing a handful of sit-to-stand desks in every classroom because that has been a great request that we receive often and also meets some of our ADA needs for our students who may be in wheelchairs. I'm trying to remember if there's anything. I think that is it for this purchase. I will be coming back to you with some additional purchases that are specific to our STEM classrooms and our science classrooms. It just took us a little more time to work through those items.
So this is 5 of our middle schools. How about the other 5 then? Have they already had this done? Or
They have
next
not,
in
but
line?
they are slated for 2027.
All right. Any other questions for Heather on this? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Steve, can you read the next construction contract approvals?
Sure. It is recommended that the board approve the following construction contracts. Here's the project listings. First of all, Fairfield and Indian Village Pickup Lane. Recommended contractor is Brooks Construction. The amount of the contract would be $1,084,097. Project number 2 is renovation work at 3 schools, Brentwood, Northside, and Northcrest. Recommended contractor is Shawnee Construction in the amount of $1,285,300. Project number 3 is masonry work. Recommended contractor is Midwest Maintenance. Recommended contract amount $216,800. Project number 4 is for site and traffic improvements. The contractor would be Exterior Service, and this is multiple sites. Contract amount $909,655. And then finally, project number 5 is the Fairfield Office and Support Area Renovation Program. Hamilton Hunter Builders is recommended for a contract amount of $1,106,387. little bit of information, the Fairfield and Indian Village drop-off pickup lanes will be funded through the 2026 Facilities Improvement Lease Bond. Renovation at Brentwood, Northside, and Northcrest, and the 2026 site and traffic projects funded through the 2026 GO Bond. Masonry will be funded through the 2026 Operations Fund and the 2020 School Building Basic Renewal, Restoration, and Safety Project. And finally, the Fairfield office program will be funded through the 2026 GO Bond and the 2026 Facilities Improvements Lease Bond. And all of these are within the program budget. Heather's still here to answer any questions on these proposals.
Thank you, Steve. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Thank you, Ann. Thank you, Jen. Do we have questions for Heather? I see we're still working on the 2020 bond. Do we have more to go on that, or is this about it? Out of curiosity.
We're getting very close to getting it spent down completely. With these approvals, as well as the SiteLogic approval earlier this evening, we should be within around $2 million of having it completely encumbered and spent out. So hopefully, close to the end of this year, I'll be coming back to you saying that we have completed spending this bond.
Thank you. And then 26 masonry and the 26 site and traffic, those are just general projects related to site and traffic and related to masonry at different locations?
Correct. Those are our typical annual projects that are small repairs and improvements at various sites.
Any other questions for Heather? Thank you, Heather. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you. Marie, can you read the next one on digital display board?
It is recommended that the board approve a contract amendment with Dektronics, Inc. The original contract approved on April 28, 2025 was in the amount of $1,894,514. This amendment is necessary to include an additional video board for the Helen P. Brown Natatorium. Yep, so the amended contract amount is now $2,105,396. The project amendment will utilize the 2024 general obligation bond, and Heather is still here to answer our questions.
Thank you, Maria. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Ann. Do we have questions for Heather?
I do. So these are nice boards. I don't know how they rate these boards. Is it pixel count? The brilliance, I guess, of the picture or information they display.
Sure. I don't have the exact specifics, but I can forward you that information. They are high-quality boards. I guess high definition is probably the easiest way that you could say that, but they are video quality boards.
Okay.
So this is in addition to the one they have? It's,
The
I
one,
haven't been in there for a while,
Sure.
but for a long time, it was one board, and that was it.
right. The one they have is starting to show its age, and also being in the environment of being within the natatorium, things wear out much quicker just due to the exposure to the chemicals. We had some savings within the athletics bond and felt that it just made sense to go ahead and upgrade them as we're upgrading the scoreboards at the various stadiums.
Are there certain considerations they take into account for the natatorium because of what I would guess would be a high humidity count or moisture level?
They do, and Daktronics, who is the provider, does have boards that do have additional seals and various things that help protect those components. Also, all of the wiring is typically a shielded wiring that helps to mitigate some of that enhanced corrosion that can happen over time.
Does the money that we've spent overall on the boards, does it include like a maintenance contract?
It does. I believe,
For how many years?
I believe it's for 5 years.
Okay.
And in addition, we are being trained on the use of the boards. Our techs are being trained how to service them, how to work on them. That is all included as part of this.
And you said they do sell these, but is this the one we're buying that they're specific to swimming facilities in?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
The original contract covered display boards for the 5 football stadiums?
Correct.
I have a question. I'll just address the elephant in the room since we've gotten several emails. I think I know the answer to this question, but this additional board cost $210,882, and closing the natatorium will save us $266,000. Why don't we just not do a board and keep the pool open?
That is a decision that is not mine, but
It's two different type fundings. This is bond funding, and salary funding is the operation fund, in which Senate Enrolled Act 1 is taking money from us. So whether we would put it into upgrading anything in the natatorium or any of our buildings, that's the only purpose for the funds.
Thank you for that clarification, Rosie.
You're welcome.
Can you also clarify, Rosie, that small window that it's closing, that the natatorium is, and the reasoning behind that?
Yes. This year, it is closing March 8th through July 10th. The HVAC system is being repaired and replaced by facilities and the HVAC professionals. And then we will reopen in time for the swim, the pool to be filled so that we can have city swim and city dive. In the future, we went and started looking at the different ways that the natatorium has been used over the years. And in the summertime, due to pools being opened, our usage is way down. And so we tried to look at the peak times that the natatorium would be used during the year. We're trying to keep the guaranteed experiences for the children, for the swim lessons. We have adults that like to swim, so we've looked at all of that, and we've framed our new schedule based on usage. And so we won't have the times where Liz is coming up with training and things like that, that she's just keeping staff there in case someone comes to the pool. We've really looked at usage, and that's what the new schedule is based on.
So in the future, it won't be closed for repairs, but what's the planned closure?
The planned closure is, it's when the usage is down.
I know, but when
And
is
so
it?
That will be from the very last day of school, or maybe the Monday after school, until that July 10th time. It's about
That's what I want.
5.5, 6 weeks, and then we will open for the city swim, city dive, and we have our hours planned based on the swim teams and what they need. Everything is based around the people that use the pool.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for Heather or Rosie? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Julie, could you take the next one, easements?
Easements at Fairfield Elementary and Wayne High School. It's recommended that a board approve the granting of a permanent easement to city utilities and the granting of a temporary easement to the Allen County Highway Department for upcoming projects. It's further recommended that the superintendent or his designee will be authorized to sign the appropriate documents and take necessary steps to complete these transfers and to grant city utilities and the Allen County Highway Department the temporary license to enter the properties to construct and maintain the improvements in and under the easement areas. So at Fairfield Elementary, the purpose of this easement is to provide city utilities with the necessary access to install, maintain, and service underground utility infrastructure located on the reference parcel. At the time Fort Wayne Community Schools acquired this property, such an easement was not required. However, as a part of updated compliance standards, city utilities now requires the establishment of this easement to ensure the parcel meets current utility and regulatory expectations. This permanent easement is at the northeast corner of the property and totals .24 acres, as you can see on your diagram. Wayne High School, this easement is to provide the Allen County Highway Department with the necessary access to complete sidewalk improvements located on the parcel. The Allen County Highway Department has offered $500 for the proposed temporary easement at the northeast corner of the property, totaling .019 acres. And Heather Krebs is still here to answer any questions.
Thank you, Julie. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Thanks, Ann. Thanks, Jen. Questions for Heather?
Just one question about the Fairfield easement. I noticed that goes right through, and I assume they need access to everything underground, but it goes through a play area and then through like a small parking lot. Are those going to be disrupted at all?
If they would ever have
An
to
issue?
get in to access that, then yes. But the long and short of it, because this is kind of a paperwork cleanup type of thing, is they would have done it whether they had the easement or not. So we don't have any, aside from the parking lot, we don't have any permanent play structures or anything in that area. So I wouldn't see it as being a huge disruption to our operations.
How long do you think that the Wayne High School, it looks like they're offering some proposed dollars for the inconvenience of the temporary easement. How long is that expected to be like that?
I believe they are working on that project through this construction season, so by the end of the year, that easement would expire.
Will it state that in the easement agreement then?
They're getting on our property, so they're asking for that easement just because they're accessing and
So it's not gonna be
doing
recorded?
improvements there.
It's just gonna be a
No,
usage?
it's just temporary.
It's temporary.
And then the one in Fairfield, that does, as Julie mentioned, cover a lot of ground, it looks like. Is that, they're going to put utilities there now, or there's a need for that, or?
No, the utilities already exist in that location. They've existed since we first purchased the parcel decades ago. And now that we're running a site project through as part of the Fairfield pickup lane improvements, they're just requiring that we come up to compliance with recording that necessary easement since the utilities are already there.
So if utilities need to be worked on and they tear up the playground or parking lot, as kind of Julie referenced, is that our responsibility or theirs?
That would be their responsibility to return it back to its original condition.
Okay. Now I'm really going to test you. There's a little box, rectangle, it says proposed alley vacation on, I'm looking at the southeast side, maybe towards residential. Is that in place, or is that?
That is also a new alley vacation that we are requesting from the city in conjunction with this. There's no land transfer, there's no monetary transfer in conjunction with that. What it is really doing is just creating a safer condition for our school, because we're saying permanently that piece of the alley is no longer an alley, and we're actually putting protective bollards in that area so that traffic can't come through that end of the alley.
So is that part of this agreement then, or?
It's in conjunction with it.
But they have agreed to that? then?
Yes, they have.
Okay. Any other questions for Heather?
So just looking at the map, I see that where Fairfield Elementary is, on that big block, so there are 4 properties there that we do not own, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Okay, anything else? Thank you, Heather. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Tony, can you read about the resolution regarding our bonds?
Sure. It is recommended that the school board adopt a resolution to approve the issuance of the Fort Wayne Community Schools Building Corporation First Mortgage Refunding Bonds, which will result in an interest and cost savings to the school corporation. The Building Corporation previously issued the 2015, 2016, 2016B, 2017A, and 2019 First Mortgage Bonds to finance a portion of the 2016 Fort Wayne Community Schools School Building Basic Renewal Restoration and Safety Project, as defined and described in the resolution adopted by the school board on December 14, 2015. and approved in a public referendum in May of 2016. The issuance of this bond that will refund all or a portion of such outstanding bonds will result in an interest cost savings to the school corporation. Prior to this meeting, the Board of Directors of the Fort Wayne Community Schools School Building Corporation approved the issuance of the refunding bonds. Rosie Shipman, Chief Financial Officer, will be available to answer questions.
Thank you, Tony. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Ann. Thank you, Tony. Do we have questions for Rosie? Just want to point out the Board of Directors of the Fort Wayne Community Schools Building Corporation is different than us. Any questions for Rosie? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nay, same sign. Jennifer, read the next one about go bonds.
This is yours.
You read it.
You've got those.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did. Okay, I'll read this one, sorry. It is recommended the school board conduct a public hearing regarding the matter of appropriating the proceeds of the general obligation bond series 2026 and investment earnings thereon. Subsequent to the public hearing, it is recommended the school board adopt a resolution to approve the appropriation of the proceeds and earnings thereon. This approval is required to facilitate the expenditure of the general obligation bond series 2026 to fund a portion of the 2026-2028 district-wide furnishing, facility improvement, and bus and equipment acquisition project previously approved by the board on November 10, 2025. No request was made by any member of the community to have the 26-28 district-wide furnishings, facility improvement, and bus and equipment acquisition project or related financing be subject to the referendum approval process after the school board approval on November 10, 2025. We are now ready for the final step of the approval process of the general obligation bond series 2026 to fund a portion of the cost of the 26-28 district-wide furnishings, facility improvement, and bus and equipment acquisition project, which is this public hearing on the appropriation of the proceeds of the general obligation bonds series 26 and investment earnings thereon. At this time, all interested parties are entitled to present their testimony regarding the project or the bonds. Do I hear any requests for testimony on these bonds or the projects? Does the board have any questions or comments on the bonds or the projects? I'm now concluding the public hearing. The school board will vote on the resolution approving the appropriation of the proceeds of the general obligation bond series 2026 and investment earnings thereon, and Rosie is again here to answer questions. I'll need a motion to approve this resolution.
So moved.
Thank you, Steve.
Second.
Thank you, Julie. Again, any questions for Rosie? All those in favor of this motion signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? Thank you. Jen, can you do the next one? Or is that me? I'm sorry. Okay. It is recommended. All right. Now, it is recommended the school board conduct another public hearing regarding the matter of executing a master lease and appropriating the proceeds of the Fort Wayne Community School Building Corporation first mortgage bonds, series 2026 and 2027, investment earnings thereon. Subsequent to the public hearing, it is recommended the school board adopt resolutions to confirm execution of the master lease, approve the issuance of the first mortgage bonds, and approve the appropriation of the proceeds and earnings thereon. These approvals are required to facilitate financing of the remaining portion of the 26-28 district-wide furnishing, facility improvement, and bus equipment acquisition project previously approved by the board on November 10, 2025, using the proceeds of the bonds to be issued by the building corporation. No request was made by any member of the community to have a 26-28 district-wide furnishings, facility improvement, and bus and equipment acquisition project or related financing be subject to the referendum approval process after the school board approved it on November 10, 2025. Prior to this meeting, the Board of Directors of the Fort Wayne Community Schools Board of Corporation approved the issuance of the first mortgage bond, Series 26 and 27. We are now ready for the next step of the approval process to allow the building corporation to issue the first mortgage bonds to fund the portion of the cost of the 2026-2028 district-wide furnishings, facility improvement, and bus equipment acquisition project, which is this public hearing on the master lease and the appropriation of the proceeds of such bonds and investment earnings thereon. At this time, all interested parties are entitled to present their testimony regarding the project, master lease, or bonds. Does anyone like to come and comment on the master lease and the bonds? They are welcome to now at this time. Hearing no requests, I close this portion of the meeting. I move that we consider two resolutions. Resolution 1, confirm the master lease and the issuance of the first mortgage bonds by the building corporation. Resolution 2, approve the appropriation of the proceeds of the first mortgage bonds and investment earnings thereon. Again, Rosie's here to assist and answer questions if needed. I'll seek a motion for those resolutions, please.
I move for approval of both resolutions.
Second.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Steve. Questions for Rosie? Hearing none, I'll take a vote. All those in favor of accepting Resolution 1 and Resolution 2, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign?
We need 2 votes here.
2 votes.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Huh?
Thank you, yes.
David.
So that approved Resolution 1, which is confirming the master lease and the issue of the first mortgage bonds by the building corporation. Let me take another motion to approve Resolution 2, the approving of the appropriation of the proceeds of the first mortgage bond investments earnings thereon. I'll seek a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Steve. Any questions? We'll take it to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye of Resolution 2.
Aye.
Aye. Those against, same sign. Thank you. All right, thank you, everyone, for keeping me in line. Ian, how about you do the last one?
No, wait, it's not. This is an update.
Oh,
Early learning.
you want to introduce
Would
this?
you like me to?
Yeah, please.
An update on Fortin Community Schools early learning will be presented, including the current state, relevant research and data, and the future direction of our early learning programs. Katie Ziegler, Manager of Early Learning, and Rianne Fertil, Assistant Director of Special Education, will be available to answer our questions.
Thank you, Ian. Welcome.
Forward Community Schools has invested in early childhood programs with about 30 years ago having maybe 5 programs to now today having over 55 preschool classrooms in our district. All of our programs are either NACE accredited, which is the National Association for the Education of Young Children, or American Montessori Society accredited. Also, our programs are all passed to quality level 4 on the Indiana rating system, which is the highest level.
We need teachers that have an educational background and have skills in working with young children to be able to help them. With the education level, definitely comes higher quality. And that's because they have an increased understanding of how children develop, how they learn. They're able to analyze situations and figure out the best way for children to learn in any given circumstance.
So when you come to our preschool programs, you know you are getting some of the best in the nation.
It helps students develop early learning foundational skills, cognitive, social. It also increases their independence.
We learn more within the first 5 years of our life than we really do the entire rest of our life. You know, our ability to acquire language skills is so hardwired into children's brains at that time that it's a great opportunity for us to take the initiative to teach them, you know, things not only about letters, but to begin reading skills. You know, starting to pick up the things that are simple, like the words that I speak can be written down on the page.
I received an email from one of my former students' parents, and she was letting me know that he is in high school now.
I was your preschool and kindergarten teacher, Mrs. Ziegler. Come here, give me a hug. How are you? I can't believe how tall you are.
And was just thanking me for setting such a great foundation for him, that he did have some learning challenges and things. We really worked hard with him, and that she was just telling all the successes that he's having now as a freshman in high school.
If he had started in first grade and he was, you know, still using animal sounds more than words and spent more time on the floor than in a chair, he would probably have been significantly behind in his education and might not have reached the level that he has now, where he's in gen ed classes all day with, you know, no pull out, just a little bit of push-in support.
Teachers are the reason we can read, write, and speak. Teachers can be our voice, because for me, I didn't understand that until I started seeing the perspective of teachers and my mom.
You think of a kindergarten teacher have 25 students. If we could have 10, 15 kids to be that peer model to help zip up coats. I mean, that's going to be vital for that teacher so that she can support the other students that need that support. It even eliminates or lessens behavior issues. So it just helps them to grow up, to be confident entering kindergarten. As a high quality educator, I know the different developmental stages and I can help that student move through those levels, providing that intense therapy that's going to better help those students later on. There also has been research that said there's an 8.3% increase in students who've been in a high quality preschool program that continue their education. Some people might think 8.3, that's little, but that's significant.
So I believe that preschool is really worth investing in because it really sets the foundation for a child's educational career. It really sets the tone for the rest of their schooling, and not only are they getting a great jump start on all of their academic skills, they're also really learning all the social emotional skills that they're going to need for the rest of their life.
And if we had these high quality programs, I mean, our data, our levels will be increasing.
So that puts us well on our way to having children with the reading skills that will be able to eventually pass things like iRead once they reach 3rd grade.
If we can get these students into a high quality program, it will reduce retention.
I think when I was a teacher in the classroom, I knew I was making a great difference in the lives of 20 to 25 students each year and really building a rapport with those families. And now in this role, I get to impact thousands of children. Research also shows that $1 invested into high quality early childhood programs gives a return of investment of about $9. So investing early and having these early interventions and high quality programs is going to help our economy and help our community in the long run. Please call your legislators and tell them how important it is for high quality early childhood programs, and let's have universal pre-K in the state of Indiana.
So thank you so much for having us today, and good evening to everyone. So my name is Rian Fertil. I'm one of the assistant directors of special education and elementary. So I help support all of the special ed pre-K for students coming into the district.
And hello everyone. I am Katie Ziegler, Manager of Early Learning for Fort Wayne Community Schools.
All right, so today we are going to be talking about what current programs we have within Fort Wayne Community. As you look at our current programs, several years ago, Katie and myself sent out a survey to parents to see what type of pre-K they wanted, if they wanted to continue with half day or they wanted to continue with full day, and it was overwhelmingly parents wanted full day options, which we knew that, we heard that, but the survey really concluded that information. So as you can see, those are all listed full day programs. On the other side is our half day programs. You will see asterisks next to some of them. Those are students that have a special education pre-K program housed within that building. So some of our buildings, like Haley, for instance, has a special education pre-K and a full day option as well. And obviously, we service all of the schools within Fort Wayne have access to pre-K. Here's our enrollment.
Sorry,
yeah.
On the half day, is that because of capacity or just because of demand
So,
of those schools?
So if we would move everyone to a full day program, we're actually cutting our capacity in half. So we've been really strategic over the years of looking at enrollment data and being very strategic about who we switch to full day so that we aren't cutting all programs in half and then trying to add an additional classroom as funding allows.
So the full day we offer and parents and families can take advantage of that, the half day, same concept, right?
Correct. And some schools have both. Some have a full day and a half day. So it's more parent choice and what works better for their child.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. Okay. Now we're to this. as I've said, this year alone, we have 1,200 pre-K students within the district. We continue to grow year after year, as you can see our trends. We have added rooms each year as well. We have long waiting lists. Currently, we have a little over 300 students on waiting lists. And they want to attend our programs. That's what it shows us. As you can see down below, the last one where it says special education pre-K, those are our December 1 counts. Those are the counts that we have every year. Currently, we are at 272. We also, that has increased obviously since December. We're up about 50 students to that 202. So we have to continue to test students. We continue to hold case conferences and place students appropriately throughout the year. Next, obviously we are known, curriculum is part of our top tier. We want high quality education and programs for our pre-K students, and we want the highest standards. Just like we would want K through 12, we want that same thing for pre-K. So that is why we partner and we support the National Association for Education of Young Children, so that would be NACE. We use Past Equality, PTQ Level 4, and we're also at Bunch, use the Montessori, American Montessori Society.
Can you talk a little more in depth about those each, and like, is there a cost associated with each? Is there a return associated with each? How do you see and value what we should be using?
So just a little fun fact, we have been NACE accredited for over 25 years in our pre-K programs. It's a tedious process. It's a lot of extra work that our pre-K teachers and staff feel is needed. So they, it's a 5-year cycle for the NACE accreditation where we have to submit, I have to submit annual reports to NACE to say what we're improving on. There is a cost associated. However, our Indiana affiliate, the Indiana Association for the Education of Young Children, helps us offset those costs. So that's a really nice partnership we have with them. There is not a cost associated with Past Equality. That's the Indiana rating system. We actually receive money from them because we are a level 4, which is the highest level. And I wish I could speak more to the American Montessori Society, but I do believe there is a cost associated with going through accreditation for that as well.
And then are other school districts, NACE and PTQ? And
very few. I believe Bunch is the only public school system that, or maybe the first, that was American Montessori. I know they were the first. There are other schools that are PTQ and NACE, however, not many. Because I'll be honest, it's a lot of extra work. It's on the teachers and the staff, and it really sets the highest standard for health and safety, curriculum, parent involvement. You're assessed in 12 different areas, and it's a lot of extra work. So it's something we really believe in. We want to be the best of the best, and so we've taken that challenge on.
And I would agree with that. I also think that it aligns with what we're doing K through 12. And so if we don't mirror that in pre-K and start children off with that knowledge and the standards that it has, then we're not setting them up for success when they go into kindergarten. So they're really, the things that they need to have access to are things that are setting them up for STEAM and STEM, being access to those materials and supplies. So we love it. It is what we do, right? Okay, so obviously we use Indiana Learning Standards. We use teaching strategies, that is creative curriculum for preschool. That is one that is used at the IDOE. So it is listed for that. We also have, are aligned, and that is aligned with Science of Reading. So you know that as well. We are still using developmentally appropriate curriculum for students ages ages 3 through 5. That creative curriculum goes down all the way to 3-year-olds, so we are utilizing that. Our 4-year-olds are using Heggerty phonemic awareness because we know that aligns with science of reading and going into kindergarten to get them ready for that. All of our programs use conscious discipline to help support them with discipline strategies and supports and, you know, that caring approach really at an early age.
Can I ask you about the conscious discipline?
Yes.
And how do we, what do we do at the pre-K level to inform parents and give them that information that how we're helping their child? Do we do anything for the parents to get them on the same level?
I'll speak to the special ed side, and then Katie can kind of speak to her side, to the title side. So in pre-K, definitely in special education, we give parents information regarding strategies that we're using, and that goes into like our weekly letter or monthly letter that we send to them. So they do receive to use the same strategies. When we sit in case conferences, we talk to parents about these are the strategies your child is using. This is what they will do when they're upset. This is what they ask for. And it's really just a caring approach. Like, it is really learning how to understand your body. So the students are learning it within the class, and then the parents get that information during case conferences along with weekly reports.
Yeah, I'll just piggyback on that. NACI, we do have to do a weekly newsletter, so tips are going out in that, as well as now with Parent Square. Parents are getting daily updates and reminders. So a lot of conscious discipline is about the adult first, and me controlling my emotions and knowing my triggers and how to help regulate little children and breathe with them and really teaching them. So a lot of our teachers do parent involvement evenings and events. Many of them have done nights on conscious discipline so they can use those same strategies at home. I know some schools have done school-wide conscious discipline events for parents, so we try to give them those tips every chance we get.
Thank you.
So decades of research has gone into play for about the importance of learning, early learning. So we know that the first 5 years are very critical to brain development. As you can see, it has better kindergarten readiness, higher graduation rates, more positive attitudes towards school, and also higher paying jobs. And then those are some of the sources that lead to that as well.
So national research, as Rian just mentioned, we see that same thing mirrored here in Fort Wayne Community Schools. So this graph that you are looking at right now is this current school year's beginning of the year kindergarten assessment of Acadians. So what this shows us is children who attended our FWCS pre-K programs scored about 20% higher than their counterparts who did not attend our preschool programs. So that's one piece of data. So we're looking at directly right out of preschool, how well are they doing at the beginning of kindergarten? So that's one piece. And then another data source we'd like you to look at is the last 5 years of iRead3 scores for 3rd grade. So starting in 2020, the blue line is children who did attend our pre-K programs versus the orange line of children who did not attend our pre-K programs. So we'd love that to be a little bit higher, but the children who attend our pre-K programs are outperforming those who did not. Maybe, okay. So let's talk a little bit about funding, our favorite topic. So we know Fort Wayne Community Schools has been committed to funding preschool programs in the district for over 30 years. And we know that this is a huge commitment of the district because the state of Indiana does not fund preschool. So currently—
Do you know how many states do not offer that, Katie?
About 5.
5. We're one of 5.
One of 5. We're way behind the curve for universal preschool. So The district spends over $3.5 million a year on preschool programming. About $1.5 million of that comes from the education fund. A little over $2 million comes from our Title I funding. The special ed grant is about $250,000 to $300,000. And then, as you know, we were getting a little bit of funding from On My Way and CCDF vouchers. Last year was about $500,000 we received from that. Unfortunately, this year, as you know, that was cut in half. I mean, even more than half. It went from about $500,000 to $40,000 this year. So we are going to have to get really creative about what the future of preschool looks like in Fort Wayne community. And we've been having some discussions and really thinking outside the box of what that could look like going forward in the future.
And you could talk a little more about what it takes for a child or a family to qualify for On My Way?
Sure.
And then how many we had?
Yep, so you have to be it was 150% below the poverty level. I believe it went down to 125, which is crazy. So you have to be obviously financially in need. Then the parents both have to be working or going to school. So if you have, dad is working and mom stays home with baby, they would not qualify. Both parents have to be working or going to school. And then I think that's the requirements right now.
And not that your specialty is the voucher dollars, but is it easier to get a voucher in Indiana to go to a private school than it is
It is.
pre-K dollars?
You're absolutely right. Yes. So if you're thinking a family of four, that's, probably $30,000 or less that they're making a year. So it's.
And both parents have to be working.
Correct, and both parents have to be working or going to school. So.
And so how many kids do we have qualified for?
I have a slide for you.
Wonderful.
The next slide. Great segue. So this is the last 4 years of our On My Way numbers. We were a pilot for the On My Way pre-K program 9 years ago. Allen County was a pilot county. We started off, just so you know, 9 years ago with 2 children enrolled through this program. Then we grew a little bit every year. Last year was our highest enrollment. We really, really pushed parents. We had lots of good support from the state. Legislators were telling us to go all in on the program. We really, really went for it and had 131 students on that voucher program. As you know, this year, many things changed at the state, and they limited the amount of vouchers given out in the state. They didn't even hit that amount. They cut off the enrollment very quickly, and they cut the amount of vouchers in half. So I'm feeling slightly optimistic about the FROG funds that were just passed. And if you're not familiar, it's the Funds for Regional Opportunity and Growth that will, that $300 million that was passed. Part of that money will fund CCDF and On My Way for this upcoming year. But it's a Band-Aid. It will just help. I believe there's 35,000 children on that CCDF On My Way wait list in the state right now. So that money that we receive is just going to be a Band-Aid to help get those children off of that waiting list.
So this is how many we received?
These are the numbers.
How many
Fort
do we
Wayne
have
communities.
qualified?
Well, the problem was we had lots of parents in the queue with their application in, and then they cut it off. So we had.
So we don't even know for sure how many people
Correct.
qualify?
Looking at our data in the district, we should have hundreds and hundreds qualify. Our number should be way more than this, but it's hard to qualify.
And we don't even know a real number because the state said we're not going to process anymore?
Correct.
But they process before they hit the
Yeah,
maximum.
they actually cut it off before they hit their maximum. I don't think that was an accident. So our vision for the future. We know we have room to grow. We know in our district we're only serving 1,200 preschool students, and we have about 2,200 kindergartners. So we're only serving about half of what we really could be serving in the district. We know that all children deserve access to a high-quality pre-K program, and looking at our data, we know pre-K works. So we just would like to call to action to all of you and all of you listening today to really contact your legislators and talk more about the importance of early education in our community, because we know that it works and brain development is so important in those first 5 years. And one last thing, we would like to invite all of you to our Passport to Pre-K registration event this Wednesday, March 11th at Northside High School from 5 to 7 p.m. We will have literally hundreds of people there to help you. If you know a 4-year-old that's going to be 4 by August 1st, we would love to get them signed up for preschool. We will help you register them. We have tons of community partners that are going to be there with goodies and resources and lots of fun. Thank you.
Thank you.
You mentioned there were 300 on our wait list currently. Is it specific schools? Is it all throughout the district? How's that work?
It was a little bit sprinkled throughout the district. So again, because of our NACE and Past Equality accreditation, there only can be so many children in a class. It's a 1-to-10 ratio. So we have a full-time teacher and full-time assistant, so we can have 20 children in a classroom. So right there cuts our numbers that if we have, 100 people show up for only 20 spots, we're going to have a waiting list. So
how many kids do we have in the 3-year-old program at Bunch?
At Bunch.
And that's our only 3-year-old program, right?
Except for special education.
Okay.
We do have special education. We have to start serving them on their 3rd birthday. Bunch serves in each classroom. They have about 8 3-year-olds, 8 4-year-olds, 8 5-year-olds.
So how many?
For the multi-age classroom.
How many 3-year-olds at Bunch? And then how many 3-year-olds in the SPED program total?
I would have to I can get you the total number in currently because SPED is 3 through 5. So I can get you the breakdown for each age
Do
level.
we have funding from the federal government for that?
So that's that 273. That's what we get on December 1, and that is for students who are currently enrolled.
And how does families identify that their child, if special need or whatever?
So first, we have families that come in through First Steps. So we are obligated for transition meetings. By the time right before their 3rd birthday, we hold transition conferences and meetings to determine if a student needs to go through an evaluation, and we do that. And then if the student qualifies for special education services, then we start them on their 3rd birthday. We're legally obligated to do that. We hold conferences and evaluate children all year long. We hold conferences, about 20 conferences a month, placing students, and that's like full scale. We're looking at like a developmental delay or other things. We also have students that might just have a speech impairment, and so then we have to, evaluate for that as well. So we hold all of those conferences and place students all year long, and then we place them according to where their address is. Obviously, we don't have a special education pre-K classroom in each building. So we kind of say like this building houses these schools and we feed them to that building. But I can definitely get you the numbers per grade or per age.
And Bunch 3-year-olds is about 70 children.
Thank you so much for your leadership.
Thank you.
You mentioned that you may have to become very creative.
Yes.
And our funding scenario is not going to get any better.
Right.
So I know it's a favor and courtesy to both our parents and employees that if it comes to a reduction in our program, I think we need to tell people as soon as possible.
Yeah.
My next door neighbor is a pre-K teacher, Susan Stevens, and she just absolutely loves her job at Harrison Hill.
Yeah. She's amazing. I really, really hope we would not have to reduce classrooms. I mean, we may just have to sustain for a little while and not add more, but I would not want to reduce the number. I already feel like we have huge waiting lists. I wouldn't want more to be on that waiting list.
How do we compare? Ours is free for students to come here to other districts throughout the state who are charging a portion or all or.
That's a big difference with us and many, many others. As far as I know, we're one of very few that do not charge anything, so that might be something we have to look at.
How many of our students, do we keep track of this, that come to us for pre-K and then continue on and stay within our district?
I don't have exact numbers, but it's very, very high. Usually that's where we get them, and they love our program so much they want to stay. And some of our partner schools, like for example, Lincoln doesn't have space to have a pre-K classroom, but I serve them at Northcrest. Sometimes they fall in love with that school so much they don't even want to go to Lincoln then for kindergarten. They want to stay at that school because they become such a part of that community. So I know it's a very high number of retention. When we get them at pre-K, they stay.
Even if we had to go to a model where we were charging some, could we service more students?
Potentially, yes.
I mean, I know by looking out there and seeing what the cost of childcare is
Yes.
for 3 and 4-year-olds, of just how much family plays pay
Yes.
if they're not in a pre-K, or a lot of the pre-K outside of our district is half-day, which
Yes.
is why I know that we have a large full day. I mean, it's very hard for a parent to work half-day.
Correct.
Yeah, I think you guys are doing great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
presenting.
Thank you.
Well, not yet. You're not done yet. I will say, Katie, my wife had a similar experience as you did with your student with young Mr. Fertiel when he went to Snyder, and we got to see him play basketball.
yes.
Wait, she had him in kindergarten. He's gotten so big.
yes.
So, and congratulations to Mr. Fertiel and the Panthers. I'll jump ahead for their win.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I was his pre-K teacher.
Okay. I will echo what Katie said at the end of her video log, is that we need legislators to step up. We are fortunate to attend the Greater Fort Wayne Inc., which is Fort Wayne, Allen County, Northeast Indiana's Chamber of Commerce. It has consistently and repeatedly for years now been at the top of business leaders' minds. This is a business function event. This is an agenda item, top agenda item for Greater Fort Wayne. It's a top agenda item for the Indianapolis Chamber. It's a top agenda item for the State of Indiana Chamber. So businesses recognize this. 9% of the kids that attend schools in Indiana go to public schools. So public schools have been advocating for this. School choice isn't on anybody's list except for the legislators. So we can see where their dollars go. So anybody of the 5 watching or the 30 in here, thank you for attending, number one. But number two, as we go into next legislative session, will be a fiscal legislative session. And it's just really sad. We've advocated for as long as we've been on the board, and I know others have well, to fund this important initiative. And it just falls on deaf ears. So thank you for that, and thank you for the iteration of that. Any other questions or comments?
Before you leave, I just want to ask, a lot of people ask us for data and how is this really working? Is it beneficial? Can we get copies of your charts and graphs that you had with the data? It's all online. Okay.
Yep.
Thank
Gave
you.
it to Angie.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm picking it live right now.
Thank you.
Thank you both for coming and all your
Yes,
hard work.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for what you do.
We'll now move on to board member comments. Steve?
2 items to share with the board. Over the weekend, I was surfing the internet, and all of a sudden, this video of our superintendent came up, and Dr. Daniel was visiting the Nutrition Process Center on Ludwig Road, and he was dressed up, with the gown and gloves and hat, and it was an interesting video. I learned something, the fact that we prepare 23,000 meals every school day, and the assignment that Dr. Daniel had was that he was helping employees scoop diced potatoes into styrofoam containers, and he was struggling. And I think he had asked if they could slow the line down, and they said they had for him. But it's an amazing center, and the work that they do, they've got to be the #1 producer of food meals in the city every day. I mean, it was just very interesting. Secondly, I was in a meeting last week, not that meeting that you're thinking of, but another one, and it was with Dr. Paul Ketchum, who's the new Assistant Secretary for the Indiana Department of Education, and he was sharing with us the A to F accountability system. And I know they're well-intended at the department, but my concern, and it's probably yours, is that they're setting us up for failure. And so I went to the website of the Educational Freedom Institute, commending the state for doing this, and one of the quotes that I've taken from their website is that this system, quote, could enhance parental empowerment by offering clearer insights into school performance, potentially supporting informed school choice. I don't have to tell you what that says or what it means, but they're going to use that data against us. And that's why we have to be very cautious about that information. We need to inform our legislators about the unintended consequences. We need to have them visit not only our pre-K programs, but our schools, and they need to see our young people, some of whom come underprepared to our buildings. And as a result, we get poor grades. We have terrific teachers, and we have administrators that are hard at work. I mean, we have teachers right here. And I know some of them were insulted by some of the comments made at another meeting last week. But it's coming, and there's no turning back. We're going to have to deal with it and understand, in part, why the ADF system is coming into place. So anyway.
Thank you, Steve. Maria?
Are you highlighting the Snyder Panthers?
Go ahead. I love it when it's Southside Archer and Elmhurst.
Oh, you know what? My son always talks about that. Mom, why are you cheering for the other schools? And I'm like, man, I'm a FWCS way through and through, so all 5 of them. So yeah. So congratulations to Snyder Panthers. They're going to regionals on Saturday, and they'll play Carmel. So good luck to them, and we'll make that trip to Newcastle to cheer them on. About the meeting last week, I just want to say thank you to
Dr. Paul Ketchum or another one?
No, another meeting that was, yeah. Thank you to everyone who came out to support FWCS in the charter school meeting. It was an interesting meeting. It was eye-opening, but just appreciate all those principals and staff members that came out. And along those same lines, I do feel like we say it a lot that we appreciate our staff members and we love the work that you do, and you all make this district work and run, and students are achieving great things, and it's all due to the work that happens in our classrooms and in our buildings every day. So I don't ever want there to be a day, a time that our staff members don't feel appreciated for the work that they do. As a current parent, I see the hours that our staff members put into our students even after the school day. You are sponsoring clubs, you are coaches, you are doing future city projects. Our administrators, I think high school principals live in the building. They have cots in their offices. They have to. I never see them not in the buildings, and that goes with the athletic department as well. So just thank you so much to everyone, bus drivers, nutrition services, nurses, teachers, administrative staff, central office. I know that we're all going through difficult decisions right now, but just know that the work that you all do every day doesn't go unnoticed. So thank you.
Thank you, Marie. Julie?
So I did sign up for an A to F webinar the other day. I don't know if anybody else did. Do you think you could conduct that webinar, Steve? Sure. You learned about it? Okay. The one thing there's a couple things that concern me. I've seen examples of students, but I've never yet seen a rubric that an educator or a parent could look at and say, oh, this is what my student needs to do. I will be very interested if that happens during the webinar. The other thing is that, you know, the A to F system, like almost all previous A to F systems are mostly based on outputs, not on inputs. Just like we were talking about today. You know, students who attend pre-K, that's an advantage. That's an input for students. Poverty is an input. Language barrier is an input. And none of those things are taken account in the A to F. And when you say they're setting us up for failure, they are diverse districts like ours are being set up for failure. About the charter hearing, I did appreciate everybody that came out. It was interesting. But I had two observations that I wanted to make. This is the third charter hearing I've been to, and it's the only one where speakers were restricted. They said there's going to be 8 speakers for and there's 8 speakers against. And I remember going to one charter hearing where everyone got to spoke and there were 25 that spoke against and 3 that spoke for. And sometimes that says a lot, but that didn't happen at this particular hearing. The other observation that I heard from several people is that there were a lot of people there that who were of our age, Steve, and you and I saw very few families with K through 5 children there. There was not one speaker who said, this is a school I'm going to send my kids to, or a grandparent who said, this is going to be a school I'm going to send my grandkids to. Not one. I found that very interesting. So, like, and just to reiterate what Maria said, we may not say it enough. Maria does a good job of it, but we are so appreciative of the staff members and that we have. As someone who spent quite a number of years in the classroom, it's not an easy job, but it is a calling. We love it. And myself, I wouldn't have picked any other career. And I think we have from not only classified staff, but certified staff. Everybody, you know, it takes a team to educate children and to run a school, and we are appreciative of all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Tony?
Thank you. A couple of things. Last week, a couple of us attended the continuing ed graduation. It was a great experience. They had 3 really wonderful speakers who spoke. Every graduation is moving and powerful, but in particular one, usually there are students who are returning back after not completing it during the traditional K-12 system, and they highlight the challenges that they have overcome. And so they were very powerful and moving speeches about what they have overcome, but also what they have achieved in graduating. So it was a wonderful experience to be able to be at that graduation last week. I also spent my entire Saturday at Carroll High School for a wrestling tournament. I wanted to congratulate all the teams, but highlight that Blackhawk Middle School is the only middle school that has a wrestling team that competed, and they had several of their students who were the champions in their weight class. Wow. And so congratulations to them. They're also the smallest team that was there, so it was really great to see them do well. And then just in general, it's great to see all the support that Fort Wayne Community Schools has gotten in the last couple of weeks. but I would love to see more of that and for that to continue. We highlight every year about study connection and people being able to volunteer in classrooms. We need that support. We need more, as we lose resources, we need more volunteer and other resources in our classrooms to make sure that we are achieving the best that we can.
Thank you, Tony. Jennifer?
I'd like to go back to the pre-K voucher conversation just for a second. I believe that I heard our presenters tell us that in order to qualify for the On My Way pre-K voucher, you had to be 125% of below the poverty level. And I've said this, and Noah mentioned it about the Greater Fort Wayne, sitting there with business leaders and community leaders who all have the absolute same top agenda item every single time is childcare, or education comes in a little bit after that. Those go hand in hand. But the voucher system is going next year to universal vouchers, which means there's no limit to get a voucher. So for me, for the state of Indiana, that is the worst return on investment they could ever make. Yep. We went the absolute flip-flop of what needs to be done. We heard these ladies speak tonight on how important pre-K is. We have data to back that up. Show me the data that a voucher is empowering our students and our children to do better or come out back into the community. What I see is happening is those who can send their children to private schools or taking the voucher are pretty much the people who are going to get or go to those schools anyhow. So now they're saving their college dollars to send their children to school on your taxpayer dollar, and may never ever come back to the state of Indiana if they might be smart enough, because our education system is so terribly supported by the opposite end. So I am passionate about pre-K being funded in our state of Indiana. If we're 1 in 5, what does that tell us? Our Hoosier students deserve better than that. And so if there's anything I can tell you tonight, it's a call to action for every single person, every 50 people that are watching, every 4 people online. But all of you that are here, take this message and tell 5 other people. And have those people tell 5 other people. This is the only way that we're going to grassroots telling our legislators what is important. They hear it at a legislative update. They see it. But when are they going to act on it? When is that going to be their priority? It's our priority. And we're doing everything we can to support these children with every last resource that we have. I need our legislators to do the same. You need them to do the same, and our families of Fort Wayne Community Schools and our Fort Wayne community and Indiana as a whole need our legislators to support pre-K. So please, please, if there's that one thing you can do, go out and tell somebody to keep that conversation going. I think I'm going to end with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer Ann.
I have no comments this evening.
Dr. Dino?
So Dr. Brown just reminded me that Paul Ketchum will be here this month visiting us. So he'd like to visit Levon Scott Academy as well as AMP Lab. So Paul was also, as a superintendent at Batesville, he was part of the Ford Next Generation Learning Network. So he knows the work that we're doing, which just this week we have Ford NGL here for Update 2.0. So we're already revising, looking at more of a year out, what that means. And there briefly this morning, but my takeaway is, how do we create experiences for kids? Period. If we can do that, I think they'll have a better idea what they want to do upon graduation, period. But we have to ensure that that happens consistently across the entire district. So I'd also love to see, as a senior student, I just asked Janet this question about 2 hours ago or 3 hours ago, if you were a freshman, and you know, we have 75 plus businesses that are now connecting to our students, providing them experiences. If you're a freshman and you had, let's just pick a corporation. Let's pick Fort Wayne Metals. Fort Wayne Metals came to talk about these are the 5 jobs that we have offered today. And by the way, they're high salary, high demand jobs. So they might be in manufacturing, engineering, technology trades. I think they may flow over to business. They might involve some arts in regards to how they advertise, but. Would students find that beneficial? I think they would, because now they're starting to hear specifics. Hey, here are some jobs out here, but also here are some wages. But you have to have at the final conclusion, if you will, a marketplace for all seniors, where are the jobs? How do I get a job? Do I get a job at Parkview that also enables me to get further college and they help me with my tuition? Or I enter the workforce right away and I'm starting to earn that wage? Or, hopefully, knock on wood, we'll be in a position where students already have a degree and already are moving into the workforce, and now they're moving rapidly. We did some work this morning looking at what are those high demand, high salary positions, but I think we need to tie this up so it's a 360. It begins, yes, it begins with pre-K. Businesses don't really care about, they want students who are, that have life skills. We call them success skills. That's what they're after. And I've heard our top level executives, we can train them on the job, but they have to have these life skills. And I think we are doing that at pre-K, and it's moving up. And I would also like to suggest this to Katie. We need to have workshops for our parents who are with their 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds. They have to put some skin in this game. They have to attend workshops focused on reading, how are the reading, focused on behavior, we're using conscious discipline, and nutrition. So I would like to say that is going to be a requirement of parents who want to have our unbelievable pre-K services. And I was just recently at Bunch and doing you'll see another video, Steve. I'll just tell you, those little kids, though, are so cute. But they're learning at a very early age. I'm going, holy cow. They're learning ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, and they can figure out any number and put it together. It's like, whoa. And they're only 4-year-olds. So think of the advantage, as Jennifer was saying, these kids have as they enter into our pre-K. But I think we have to ask our parents to put some skin in the game, too. And we have to have a higher expectation of what they're doing. Also, I want to thank everyone who did contribute inputs to University of Southern Indiana. Hopefully, we bombed that particular input. But we'll see. My gut feeling is we're probably going to get a provisional, but again, we have to hold anyone who is going to be in our school district or even in our community. Are you serving the needs of the kids, and are you doing it at least as well as FWCS? So anyway, that's another whole topic. And I also want to thank those who have expressed some condolences for my mother. Appreciate it. That's it.
I just want to mention that on behalf of the board, Dr. Daniel, our condolences. You had a lovely service for your mother on Saturday, and appreciate the opportunity to be there. And sound like a heck of a woman. So
it's always hard.
Going on, yeah. This going on too. So I'll continue on that theme. Thank you to everybody that came out, and even just some that didn't speak, some just watched and listened. The application for the charter, and I know many people submitted commentary through the USI website. The thing I'll say about the charter, I guess, we're not perfect. We know that. But as Maria and Julie eloquently pointed out, and Tony, we have great people working their tails off every single day to provide for our kids and provide for our community. I run into teachers or nurses even. I ran into a group of nurses last week, and they say, oh, thank you. I'm like, no, thank you. Yeah, we don't get paid much for this. We get too paid, get a little, but teaching and nursing and driving a bus, it's kind of a labor of love, and it's a passion, as you can see from Jennifer and everyone else up here. And so when the charter applies, they're saying we're not doing something good enough. And again, we're not perfect. And I think us as a board looked internally and thought, where can we do better? We've asked some of the people where they're involved with, where can we do better? And quite frankly, in my opinion, we didn't get good answers. The last thing I'll say about the charter, and my biggest frustration is, Dr. Daniels said, we are elected and we're held accountable by the citizenry of Fort Wayne and our districts and in our community. And so if we're not perfect enough and we're not doing a good enough job, then guess what? In November, you can have us not elected again. And there's 4 of the 7 of us up here for sure that you could choose to put somebody else in. The University of Southern Indiana has 3 staff members who were very nice and pleasant when they came up and visited and held the hearing. They're the ones that get to make this decision. They're the ones that get to decide how your and our tax dollars are spent. They're the ones that get to decide whether the school even exists or not. And that part I just kind of find pretty much a problem and appalling. But the state has sought that to be the case, and that's just really disappointing. As Tony mentioned, I went with her and Steve, not together, but to the high school graduation, or the high school equivalency graduation. And I know Steve, who's been on the board longer than Maria's been alive, had said that this is one of the best events he's ever been to as far as the district goes. And it took me 3 or 4 years to finally hear him out, but I did go, and it was, we get a lot of great experiences. We get to see some kids in action. We get to see some teachers in action. But seeing those kids and adults talk about the hardships they went through, and then yet perceived and persisted to continue to get on their high school equivalency degree was really neat. As Tony said, the 3 speakers, the first woman was a mother at 13 years old. At 13 years old. And she tried to get through schooling regular, and then as a junior just decided she needed to be a mother first. And went for 5 or 6 years. She decided to go back to school, and then she graduated with her degree this year. The woman after her, who was 44, and English was not her native language, and the other young man who's probably in his lower to mid 20s, all are going on to college. So they realized and understood, and that was their continuous messages. This is not the end. This is just another door opening. So please go through it. The other thing I'll say is Northside, which I did not attend, but I've been to a number of times, still amazes me as how, Ian and Dr. Daniel went through there, because that place is a maze. But to the effort that Heather and her team and Darren Hess for a long time, and Rosie Shipman and Kathy Friend, it's in great shape for being 80 years old. And that auditorium is amazing. If you've never been there, come over on Wednesday to On My Way Pre-K, because that's one thing we're really proud of our schools and the condition they're in. And we thank the community for that in part. And then lastly, I'll talk about, as Maria mentioned in some of the conversations about the pool and some of the other changes and some of the other things we're being faced with. And Steve commented A through F. We are in the age of fiscal and academic accountability. We are going to work hard, and our job and role is to make sure we're trying to guide the whole district on the right path. We're not big subscribers to this accountability rule, quite frankly. I don't think if any one of us were state legislators, we would have voted for it, but the state did pass it. We need to do the best we can to live up to that standard. We talk internally many times about different factors to consider and look at. And while we have some that we've thought about and that we're talking with the administration and the cabinet about, different pluses and minuses that schools do and teachers do that we're in favor of that may not meet that little box of the A through F schedule, we still have to go for that box. And so we're going to be advocating as that gets rolled out and implemented to look at what else can we look at to measure our performance, what else can we look at to measure our success or failures, quite frankly. But we got to shoot for that little box as much as we can. Because as Steve said, that's going to be the broadcast marketing piece, despite all the amazing things we do, despite all the amazing things that Krista and Scott push out there, among others, despite all the successes our kids have, and our alumni have, and our teachers and parents and families have. That's going to be our report card. So that's important to us as the board members to make sure we're doing the best we can there. With that, I'll entertain a motion to. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Sure, absolutely.
I did want to recognize South Wayne is here, and so their teacher and staff have been sitting for this very long meeting. So I just wanted to recognize them and congratulate them because I did not mention the elementary basketball championships, and they were runners up. So I wanted to mention them, and then all the elementary schools that competed and did well. Sorry.
No problem. Thank you, Tony. Anyone else? Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, Steve.
Second.
Thank you, Ann. Meeting it, all those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you. We do have speakers.